Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. The YouTube channel's back up for those that's been looking for it. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the wingman running the three, LT the Sage. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. Thank you, everybody, for your prayers. I was real sick last week, but I appreciate your patience, and I'm back on the grind on the YouTube channel for you brothers out there. So I appreciate your long wait there.
Yeah, this is even perfect, LT, because I can finally see your face, and now it gets more interesting and a lot more entertaining for the listeners that, especially that look at the YouTube channel. And I'm just going to go ahead and give you a hard time. I know you did such a hard, job getting your face so I can see it, but I don't know. I will just go ahead and get to the point. You're above me. That's where you always wanted to put yourself on top of me. I don't like it. I'm just going to let you know that now. Yeah, you can smile. Yeah, I can see you smiling now. You think that's a little joke. That's cool. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to the content. And actually, before we get to the content, LT, let me ask you this. Did you see the Super Bowl, man?
I watched most of it, yeah. What
was your thoughts real quick on that?
I'm going to be honest with you. After watching the Super Bowl, I realized hold your seats. I don't know if I care about football anymore, man. I was going to sleep halfway through that Super Bowl, man, to be honest with you. And it's because I don't care about either of the teams, right? Like I literally didn't care. Let me give you a quick story too. My job did this quick thing where you like bet on stuff that was on like going on through the Super Bowl, like what color was the Gatorade that Andy Reid was going to get splashed with. Listen, I won. Somehow I won. Like I guess I guessed orange for the Kool-Aid that they dropped on him, a Kool-Aid Gatorade, and and I won. I won an Amazon gift card. That's the best thing that came out of the Super Bowl. But in all seriousness, 49ers blew it. Garoppolo, you got to make that pass, my brother. Got to make that pass, man. That was the pass. That's what makes champions, and you blew it. That's all I got, man.
Man, you came really hard on them, LT. Listen, I thought it was actually a good Super Bowl, man. So I'm glad that you're back on the podcast, just because I know we're always opposite of things, but secretly we've been coming on the same page and stuff. But I'm glad that we're not on this one. No, it was a good Super Bowl. It almost seems like it was almost over in the fourth quarter, right? You remember that post from San Francisco? They were just go ahead, they did that little pose, like the whole defensive team, like it was sweet. But like, you know what? The game is not over yet. There's like 6 minutes left. Get out there and play the game. And then what happened when you get a little too cocky? What happened? You got punched in the mouth. And that's exactly what happened. They got punched in the mouth. Kelsey with the quick touchdowns, as you would call them, Kelsey chips, I think. And then at the same time, not only that, they went back and scored really quick again. Yes, they couldn't close the game. Unfortunately, that sucks. But hey, the Chiefs have been doing that all throughout the playoffs, right? So that is crazy. I'm happy for Andy Reid. I forgot to get my cheeseburger. There was a quote that he mentioned that he's going to get the biggest cheeseburger he can find, make it a double. I'm going to go ahead and join the party on him. Maybe tomorrow I'll get me a big old cheeseburger because I'm happy for Andy Reid. But anyways, this is not a football podcast. Let's go ahead and get to the content. You guys, check out newlifefantasy.com. Join the mailing list. We also have our donation buttons, too, at the top of the list. So feel free to donate and help us to continue to get things going here. Even $1 or $2 doesn't even matter. It just helps us. At the same time, make sure you check out newlifefantasy.com. Join the mailing list, like I said. YouTube channel, make sure you Sub-Zero that subscribe button. Hit the bell. It's dinner time. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. And make sure you subscribe to Take a Ride podcast. And real quick, LT, I don't know if I'm going to do this, but listeners, check out the shop. If you scroll up, I don't know if you refresh the page or not, LT. The shop button, middle at the top. And I don't know if I'm going to keep it on there, but if I was just going to say to the listeners, I may or may not keep up these shirts, but I'm thinking about selling them. So we have a lot of different stuff with our logos. And actually, I gave a nice one on Kobe Bryant in the top left there that you guys might want to check out. You guys might like it. If you guys are not interested, and I'll definitely take it down. But there's just a lot of different stuff of our product, and I just want to let you guys know that, yeah, all these plugs, I'm sorry, but you guys got to eat it. You know what it is, right? So with that being said, I'm ready to take people on for a ride. This episode will just touch up on some of the games, and then at the same time, we're going to it was a listener question that I thought was really interesting, that he wanted to see what type of rookies other outside of Zion Williamson and Ja Morant that we think could improve next year. And I think that's a good segment to do. And we'll touch up on maybe 5 to 10 players. And then maybe in the next episode, we'll touch up on more. So I'll pass you the ball there, LT. And we'll also talk about a trade rumor, LT, the Sage corner that he has. But I'll pass you the ball, LT, if you want to touch up on any of the games, just to highlight on any of the players you see there, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and get into the games here. While I start on that and get those games going, what do you feel about the? We didn't get to talk about it too much. Some of the snubs for the All-Stars. I want to get your take on it, Starks. I didn't have a chance to talk to you about it. About the or your guy Devin Booker.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, and not only Devin Booker, but I know there was a snub on Bradley Beal too, you know, from the East. But as you would call him, the real Bill, Devin Booker, man, yeah, that's a tough one. But I won't hold too much water weight on it. I'll just say this, you know, it's just the West is so loaded with a certain amount of players that it's almost difficult to get in. But does he deserve it? Yeah, rightfully so. But sometimes, you know, this happens. It kind of reminds me of when your boy, the Lillard, he got snubbed a few years ago, and that only motivated him to demand his presence to be an all-star. So I'll pass you back the ball. What's your thoughts on any of the snubs there, brother?
Yeah, the biggest thing that made me think about you was that people were saying that he deserved it more than Donovan Mitchell, and so Donovan Mitchell got in. And he did it, but they're saying that it was only because Donovan Mitchell's on a better team, but he wasn't the individual better player. So I didn't know whether I don't know. I don't know. All-Star, there's so much between an actual good player being on a bad team and getting into the All-Star, but then the team can be good, so that means that they're also a good player. But then you got Trae Young, who's obviously on the worst team in the league, and he's a starter, right? Because of popularity votes. Yeah. So you got to think about that. So I just think they need to think and overhaul the All-Star and come out and say, hey, the best player with the best stats, that's who we want in this game. We're not going to take into consideration the teams and their records. We're going to look at the best players individually, or go the opposite way. Say that it does matter. So I just think they need to come out and do something with that. But to go ahead and segue back into these games here, I was listening to some of the stats coming through while I was doing cardio, and Kevin Love was on a tear this game, Starks. Looks like they ended up losing, but Kevin Love, 33 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1 block. 5 for 5 from the charity and 4 threes. I wanted to mention my guy Colin Sexton. I gotta talk about him. He's playing amazing right now. And throughout my sickness last week, I was kind of looking at some of the games, and I was just, this guy's consistently scoring. He added 7 assists tonight. That's the next level, the next step for him. In his third year next year, add those other stats. But Starks, what do you think about Sexton or Garland even? And there's another Dynasty Dandy you've been tweeting about over here as well.
Yeah, so real quick on it, Colin Sexton had a good game, and that, just like what you mentioned, for him to get those assists, is it an outlier potential? Yeah, I think it's a potential outlier, but if it's a gear in the right direction, you'd be excited to take it. But let's also keep in mind this was against the Knicks, but that's okay because he still gave you stats. And as far as Garlick Jr. the second, Darius Garland, he's been an inconsistent rookie this year, but you appreciate the game that he had. And of course, you knew who I was going to talk about, the Dynasty Darling Dandy. And actually, he's worth a player to add in a lot of leagues, almost essentially most leagues. It's Kevin Porter Jr. He's getting the minutes consistently off the bench. You guys got to take him seriously. The 12 points and 2 steals with 3 assists, you like it. That charity stripe tonight, yucky, 2 for 6. But hey, it's a rookie, so you're going to take these errors. But again, Cleveland, they have nothing to really play for as they continue to lose. The 13-38 record. But I want my hands on deck on Kevin Porter Jr. And that's also like in a 14-man league. If you're in like a top, if you're in the top, and what I mean by the top, you're good in the standings, then you're going to also try to pick him up in a deeper 12-man league if you have roster space to pick him up, because I think he's a potential player because he's been given top 100 value within a week, I believe, just because of the type of his steal rate and his out of position stats that you accept with the 3-pointers. And again, if the minutes is on a rise, and before he got injured, his minutes was rising. So he's a player to take in consideration. But real quick, I want to just segue to New York. If you could scroll down there, LT.
Definitely.
There's just one, just like maybe a couple players. Well, actually, I just want to talk about one player because I know how the Knicks is here. But that Elfrid, I got to talk about another player. Elfrid Payton, man, triple double game, excellent. The 15-6, crazy. You like that? 17 points, 11 rebounds. But Dennis Smith Jr., I know, guys. I know you're tired of it. You should be. But at least if there was any glimmer of hope, he was efficient. Not that, but he was 6 for 11, which is efficient. And he had the 6 assists and 4 steals. You love that. And it's just the Knicks. It's hard to get minutes there. They play the Mitchell game there. It's like they're going to start him. Oh, he's going to get benched. Oh, they're going to pull him off the bench. And it's sad because Mitchell Robinson came off the bench and he was like on the bottom of the totem pole. You had Damon Dotson and Kevin Knox getting more minutes than Mitchell. I'll just leave it there, LT. I'll pass you the ball. That's just a sickening thought to think about.
No, and this was the perfect game to start off because I'm going to segue a little bit from this game into the trade corner. But yeah, Julius Randle had a beautiful game, 9 for 16, efficient. Didn't hit any snipes this game, but that's okay. 3 assists, 2 steals. You love to see him bring in those stock stats. Marcus Morris, he's secretly doing very well, putting up huge minutes. Now, this was a double overtime game, so keep that in mind when you're looking at these stats. Marcus Morris came to play. Elfrid Payton had a triple-double. Bobby Portis, the transporter, even he had 2 snipes. So you love to see that production and almost 30 minutes. But I wanted to segue from this game, Starks, into our trade corner. The Knicks and the Hornets have been discussing a trade which would involve bringing Julius Randle over to the Hornets to pair him with, to pair him with some of the talent over there in the Hornets side. And some of the names that are being connected, names we've been hearing on our podcast a lot. Malik Monk is said to be a interested party to go over to the Knicks. And I know, I see that smile. So basically if Malik Monk can be brought to the Knicks, I like that. I like that for him. Because let's be honest, the Knicks are a wasteland team. They're looking for anybody with talent, right, to come in and infuse some life into that team. Also, Rozier, Terry Rozier is another name that are being linked in this trade. And exactly. Terry Rozier is another name that's being linked. And Starks, that doesn't stop there. DSJ. What? DSJ is also being linked as part of the package that the Knicks are offering the Hornets to try to get Terry Rozier and Malik Monk. It's crazy because you think about the distance. Starks, you hear me? We're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I cut out.
You're fine.
Yeah, I was cutting out there. I heard last thing I heard.
Yeah, the DSJ was too much for you to handle, so I understand. I understand, man. But yeah. So just thinking about that, I like the trade in general. I don't like it for Terry Rozier because I don't know if Elfrid Payton and Terry Rozier can coincide with each other. So hopefully they can. Hopefully they get. Hopefully they can. It's like your internet can't. It's like your Wi-Fi can't handle the DSJ news. Can't handle the DSJ news, man. But no. So Starks, I'll try to pass it over to you, man. Do you have any idea or thoughts on this type of trade, man? What's your think?
This is just, it sounds good, but I'm gonna be honest, I still can't drink this in, man. Okay, I just want to make sure I heard that last part right, because like you said, the Wi-Fi it was too much for me to handle it and take this all in. I just want to make sure I heard this clearly. So potentially the rumor of DSJ going to New York, right, and then even potentially Terry Rozier going to New York.
He's also been spoken as part of the trade talk. So it's Julius Randle, DSJ, Terry Rozier, Malik Monk are the four names right now that are being discussed between the two teams. Again, talks are, things can change between now and Thursday, but some of the initial things some of the experts are hearing are those four names being talked about in a trade. So that is what's happening right now. I like it for Malik Monk, and I like it for Rozier. No, I don't know. My main thing was, can Rozier and Payton coexist? Maybe they can. But I don't know if them getting rid of Julius Randle.
I'm just going to steal the ball.
New York.
I'm just going to give me the ball. Give me the ball. I'm tired of this. We need to get it. We got to move on. Listen, let me say this. Give me that ball. I'm tired of this. Listen. I got excited like you about Malik Monk, but then what caught me, LT, when I heard the Knicks. Right, we know what the Knicks do to players. They're a team. It seems like Malik Monk would get all the opportunity in New York, right? Well, I thought about that with DSJ. Guess what? A lot of people, experts, was like, "Hey, Mitchell Robinson, we see what's going on there. Listen, if you're going to go to New York, there's going to be a potential recipe of disaster. Now, if they're going to pay the players the money." I guess you could say, hey, cool. Julius Randle, he was probably the most consistent guy getting minutes. Mm-hmm. But Charlotte's just like, for what? Charlotte, like, what are you doing? DSJ, are you guys going to actually use him? Number one. And then number two, Julius Randle is just like, it's just not a good player to me. But, I know a lot of people, including yourself, like him. We can move on, LT. That's all I got, man.
No problem. I want to see this trade happen so I can just see how your reaction. We do a reaction cap for you. That would be awesome. But yeah, we're going to move on into the customers. Huh? Yeah. Am I at work? Yeah. Of course not. Yuck. Our listeners, sorry about that. Our listeners' question. And we were going to talk about rookies. And so he didn't want to talk about the obvious two, right? John Morant, Zion Williamson. But I went ahead and brought up top rookies from this year and the points total for overall year. So it's based off of points. And I'm actually going to change up some of this as we go along to give you guys, secret cheat codes on potential rookies and what stats they're leading in. But right now, the first person I wanted to talk about is Kobe White. Kobe White is 8th on this list as far as total points on the year. And right now his field goal percentage is .375, abysmal. His 3-point, which is not very good. Free throw percentage is .729. His minutes per game is about 23. His points are at 11. Now, the reason why I want to touch on Kobe White is that next year, opportunity may go up. If he can work on his field goal percentage and his 3-point percentage, if he can get those up above 0.4 and get his minutes rounding up as well, I think that he's going to be a fantasy force. I think he has the opportunity and the ability to provide for that Bulls team. And I like his game. I like how much he attacks, how strong he is going to the hole. And his three-pointer looks good and decent in most nights. Now, right now, he's very inconsistent, but he's one of those players that next year in his sophomore season, I will be keeping an eye out for those cheap point guards you can get later on past the 5th, 6th round, guys that maybe people aren't thinking about. Just keep an eye out for Kobe White. I like to call him Kobe Cheese, but Starks, what do you, that's my guy. That's one of my first guys. Did you have anybody specifically you wanted to touch on this list?
I'm going to highlight a little bit real quick. Yeah, I definitely want to touch up on someone else in the list. Just to segue just real quick on Kobe White. That's a good call, but at the same time, I'm going to challenge you and ask you. So we got Chris Dunn over there, which has actually been doing well, and then you obviously have Thomas Satoransky. So do you feel confident that he's going to get more playing time next year in Chicago if they still remain in Chicago?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be honest. And this is just personal. I'm not a big Thomas Satoransky fan. Not saying that he's not a good player, but I feel like the talent difference between the two. I feel like Kobe White's probably a little bit more talented than him overall, has a higher ceiling. So I think that between this year and next year, I think the playing time kind of flips. That's just me though. It could be where it takes him a couple years to get to that point, but I just feel like watching those two players, Kobe White's ceiling is a lot higher, and in Chicago, if they want to get somewhere, they want to move forward, they need to put their best players on the court. So that's just me thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's good. So I was going to say this about Brandon Clark. That's actually on the list. This obviously seems like an easy one to just the listeners or even in the industry in particular, but sometimes when something's obvious, it's not always to be true. Just because, however, the coach likes to utilize players. I mean, we can talk about Mitchell Robinson, for instance. We just got on the whole odd situation there. Memphis, although are pretty much essentially a wasteland team, right? They still have a solid starting lineup and runs a fast-paced offense. Now, to be quite frank and actually fair, with the minutes that Brandon Clark has had this year, pretty good for a rookie, 21 minutes, and he's kind of behind. It's not even kind of. He's behind Jonas Valanciunas and Triple J in a sense, and maybe sometimes he might play the 4, maybe even potentially the 5. But let me say this: he's top 79 this year, and the improvements for next year it seems likely. It's going to happen. They need to get this guy on the court more. The last 2 weeks he's been top 62. So he is a top 50 type of player, and maybe he can do that next year. And I would not be surprised if he pulls that value this year. It just goes by however the coach decides to, allow him to get more minutes, because if he does get, let's just say hypothetically, 28 minutes, because his minutes has bumped up 2 minutes, and that's actually massive here the last 2 weeks at 23 minutes. But if you give this guy maybe about 28 plus minutes a game, you can almost expect, I wouldn't even say almost, you should expect top 50 production, and maybe he gets those minutes as the season progresses on. But as far as, the listener question, I think is good, because next year, do I think his minutes increase? Yeah, absolutely. So with minutes increasing and his per 36 numbers being solid, he will be that type of player that can essentially get you triple one. One wouldn't say triple one, but he can get you a steal and a sneaky block with good percentages. And that's what you love, in a 9-cat category league. And even in points leagues, you can get him as a deep late round flyer. So if you're in a dynasty startup, or even dynasty startup, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more of a premium next year. I know this year in a startup, people were getting him in the hundreds and 110 range in a dynasty format. Listen, you're going to have to pay a little bit more next year. I would not be surprised. And in a redraft and points league, it's a little bit different, but you probably got to pay almost 8th or 9th round value. And that's the realness of him. And a lot of teams passed up on him in the NBA draft, but that's where I'm at. LT, I will pass you the ball on another player you want to talk about for next year.
Definitely. Just to touch on him, he's a great percentage guy. If you look at his percentages here, his 3-point percentage, .400, field goal percentage, .626 on his field goal percentage and free throw. So if you do pick him up next year, if you're thinking about picking him up or keep him in your back pocket, he's a percentage guy. He's not going to hurt you in those areas, so that could definitely help. And maybe not something you're looking at if you're going to punt free throws as well. He can help you, or at least keep you in a good spot there. So yeah, so I wanted to. He also has the most rebounds of any rookie this year so far. So I wanted to touch up on that. So there's a couple of guys that I want to talk about, but they're I almost feel like they're automatic, right? Mm-hmm. And that's, Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn. Those guys are killing it right now. But I can't talk about maybe our top 5 guys without talking about our guy, Thy Bully. And Thy Bully is right now killing every other rookie by 13 steals, 27 steals maybe? I can't think of the numbers, 17. He is 17 steals up on the next rookie which is Cam Reddish from Atlanta. 17 steals. This guy is a monster, and he's just now ramping his minutes. Look at the minutes difference between him and Cam Reddish. His minutes per game are at 20 right now, average over the year. Cam Reddish's is at 26. Look at just per 30 numbers are out of this world when it comes to steals and blocks and all of those stock stats that he can give you. Next year, if he's able to cut out a role, 25, hopefully 25 to 30 minute role next year on that team, sky's the limit for this guy on your fantasy team, especially in non-cat categories when you're going up against, uno against another person. They're going to hate seeing Thybully on the other side. So I have to speak out about my guy, Thybully Starks. What do you think, man? I know you love him too.
Yeah, and I know you've been licking your wounds this week. I had mentioned I don't know if you heard it, but there's a thing that I say now. It's NEM. He has the NEM. I like the players to get the NEM. So the listeners that are new to that, the NEM, the NEM, nothing else matters. And what that stands for him, minutes, steals, and blocks, because nothing else matters. I don't care about how many points he scores. I don't care about his rebounds. All I care about is those minutes that he could get and those steals and blocks, because everybody in New Life, including me and LT and Jacob, we are fans of Thybully. As LT would say, Matisse Thybulle is the real deal. It just depends on if he's going to get the minutes, right? So that's where we stand with him. So, yeah, his production should be better next year in Philadelphia. But I want to touch up on another guy, and actually the guy I want to touch up on. I don't want to touch up on I want to be a little bit not on the exact type of player, like everybody. Like we could talk about who's the other, Michael Porter Jr. I mean, we could talk about him, but I'm not. He's doing good, but I think it's an obvious one. But I'll just go ahead and segue and talk about a guy that I've always mentioned in this podcast, Orochi Maru, which is Rui Hachimura. He's been injured. I get it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a struggle. But this guy should improve next year. And he was putting up 125 production, a prediction that I had put out until he got hurt. So he was there. He was putting out that production. Now, he's not going to get you those steals and blocks. I get it. It sucks. But if you're in a points league, you're going to take that. You're going to feel good, and you're going to accept it, and you're going to like it, right? But in a 9-cat category league, you're going to accept that value too, because honestly, in a 12-man league, that's still like back-end value that you're getting in return. So that's a last round flyer per se. And then in a dynasty format, since it's kind of more of a dynasty-driven podcast, I think you got to take it more serious. And what I mean by that, we can expect his points to come up, his rebounds to come up. Again, I had mentioned he's got the Rudy S type of play, and I think he could do that. Now, is he going to get the minutes, right? Is he going to start? He should get the minutes. Now, of course, you're going to be able to cut coupons with him, because it's like everybody's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with him. And honestly, he's came back, I think, here recently, and he did okay. But, yeah, you can expect for him to, like I said, give you the points, give you the rebounds, hit you an occasional three from time to time. Percentages, not the best, but you're going to get that free throw. Well, his percentages should be decent, but his free throw percentage should come back up. Before I pass you the ball, LT, I was just going to say, what's your quick thoughts on him? And if you want to jump on another player, man.
I like Rui. I like Hachimura. Rudy Gay's one of my original guys. So if he can come out and actually perform, my biggest issue with Rui is, can he stay healthy? So hopefully he can stay healthy next year. Again, that team is a wasteland team. He's going to have a better distributor next year. John Wall's supposed to be back next year. So he'll have a better distributor, get him more open looks, more opportunities to score. So keep that in mind. If he can stay on that starting lineup, that's to me, that's a recipe for success. So I do like him. I'm going to actually get a little bit crazy here. No, I'm just kidding. Not crazy, but Taz Reed, or should I say Naz Reed, now the fantasy listeners know I love my cheap big men, right? I love my my cheapies, my big men. I like them cheap and big. And so Naz Reed, listen, if it doesn't happen Thursday, over the offseason, there's a high chance Cat gets traded. High chance. And I know Golden State's looking at him. They're looking at him with that little eye. They want him. A couple other teams have been also stated that they would love to have Cat in their team. And the Minnesota Timberwolves are just they need to start maybe looking at other options as far as making moves. So Naz Reid is on the back end. He is ready. And some of these stats right here are based off of 10.5 minutes per game. Just imagine if he can get 30 minutes per game, he's looking at about 18 points, about close to 8 rebounds a game. And when he was playing, he was putting up high production in a low minute time frame. I think he has the ability to jump into the Cat role, take over for Cat and produce at a high clip. And not a lot of people are going to be thinking about him come next year in their drafts. So if there's any buzz or anything that stops, try to grab him as late as you can, early as you can. Those 6 to 8 rounds 8 to 10 round, you should be able to grab him next year, unless he goes crazy next year, early season, and people jump on the hype train. But I like this guy. My eyes are already on him as far as next year. What do you think, Starks?
I think you're something's in your Kool-Aid, man. I'm not. No, to be honest with you, I like Naz Reid myself, but I need it. Obviously, we could talk about Gorgie Porgy because Jang is like getting the minutes Naz Reid deserves the minutes, but Gorgie Porgy is going to get his minutes. But Naz Reid, I'm gonna be honest with you, LT. He's definitely a talent for sure. He just has to get on the floor and
needs the minutes. Yeah.
But I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't. That's funny how that works, right? But anyways, since you want to dig in the barrels, let me go ahead and dig in the barrels myself on one more for myself, and we'll kind of move on to some of these games. Perfect. And again, listeners, we'll talk about more of these on the next episode. Thank you, listener, for reaching out and letting us know if this was a good idea to have segment-wise. Mm-hmm. But since you're digging and scraps, I like that, LT. I like when you get your hands dirty because I like to get my hands dirty too. And the hands I like to get my dirty hands on is. Wait a minute, what just happened? Yeah, what just happened? I see you. Yeah, there it is. So we got. So finally, I can see you on YouTube. This makes things even more interesting. Anyway, so the guy that I got my hands deep in. Yeah, I'm not gonna even try to finish that because that don't sound right. Yeah. It's getting late over here in the East. Man. Oh man. So, anyways, the guy in the Pacers is Goga Bitadis, right? This is a big man that you're like, well, you got Miles Turner there, you got LT's boy Sabonis there, right? But as you guys know, obviously the trade deadline is coming up. I'm not saying anybody gets moved from Indiana, the bigs, but as you guys know, there's been a lot of circulation or even just talk about that Sabonis and Miles Turner just doesn't mesh well on the court together, right? So listen, I love Miles Turner, and it only makes sense if they were to move him. He's really good. And what I mean by that, he gets you those blocks. His per 36 numbers jumps out of the gym. It's just all about, I would just love for this guy. This is one of these rookies, LT, I'm just telling you here, like, listen, you put him on a wasteland team and he's going to produce. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but he's buried in Indiana with the bigs there. And it's rightfully so because it's Miles Turner and it's your boy Sabonis that are just good players. And Sabonis is definitely killing it this year. So if any one of those players were to move and they don't get a big man in return, Goga in a dynasty format, I want him in all. Well, I'm not going to say all formats, but I want him in the deepest of deep leagues. And that's why I don't know why I was trying to fit something with the dirty hands to get I'll just stop trying again. But the point is, if they utilize him the way he should be and he gets the minutes, he will produce for you. And what's his outlook like? I say it like this. The likelihood is this: if Miles Turner and Sabonis is still there, it's going to really be hard for him to see daylight, maybe even next year. But I will give him time to let him to get his opportunity as you get your head up on the screen. I will just say this: Goga is a guy I definitely like, and he's definitely warranted the opportunity. LT, what's your thoughts? And if you want to touch up on one more player, man.
Man, Goga Fett, right? Boba Fett from Star Wars, Goga Fett. That's my name for him. Bedazdi. Yeah, he's just like, it's funny you mentioned him. He reminds me, you know who he reminds me of?
Who's that?
Naz Reid. No, yeah. Funny, right? He needs time. He needs the opportunity. He needs the availability to get on the court. He has talent. I've seen him when he's come in and played for those guys, specifically Miles Turner, and he's produced. So definitely, if he can get on the court, but he has the same issues that I see in Naz Reid, where it's like, can he get on the court? I think that it's easier for Naz Reid to get on the court because he's against, Dang. Come on now. And then, and not saying Dang's not good, but he's old. He's old. And then,
you sure?
Who? Gorgie Porgy? He has to be like 29, 30.
I think he might be like 28, 29. Man, I'm not sure.
He got to be like almost. He got to be 30. I'm telling you, he's been in the league since I was in high school, man. And there's no way. There's no way he's not like 30.
That was like last year, though, right?
Right. Yeah, I wish. Exactly. I wish. No, but yeah, I do want to touch on one player, but I'm going to hold it till our next episode. There is another guy that I want to talk about, but I want to talk about him a little more. And he is on the Pistons. So listeners, you probably know who I'm talking about already, but keep your eyes and ears peeled for the next episode because he is definitely on my Sage Eye list. But yeah, that's all I got, Starks. We can, you'll touch up on some games, right?
Yeah, we could just touch up on a couple. Well, go ahead.
Yeah. We'll touch on a couple games, and we do have a Pistons versus Memphis game. We'll go ahead and look at some stats real quick. Andre Drummond still playing really well. Not really. I shouldn't say really well, but really pretty good. 35 minutes tonight, 12 for 22. Free throws, always a problem for him, but he only shot 3, so that's not too bad. 18 rebounds, 4 assists. No stock stats, but 25 points as well. So almost got his patent in 2020. And then you got Bruce Brown coming in 4 for 12. But he had all of his charity, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal. Bruce Lee. I think we both saw. Hey, Stark, that's going to be a no for me, dog. Hey, Reggie Jackson. That game, that's going to be a no for me, dog. Hey, I know that Detroit can't wait for Derrick Rose to come back on the court after what I've seen. 1 for 16. Yikes. At least he got 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He wasn't out there just chucking shots up and not doing anything else. But Starks, I'm going to pass the rock over to you. Wow.
Hey, listen. Hey, as you remember back in the day at Regime, right? Listen, Reggie Jackson, dog. Listen, the 1 for 16 is terrible, but to be fair, LT, he's been playing really well.
Yeah, he has.
So honestly, although this was 24 minutes, a very inefficient game, as LT had mentioned, he's warranted to be picked up, honestly, because he's been playing well. But the guy I want to touch up on, as you guys know, and you're tired of it, but I don't care, it's Christian Wood from the bench. Oh, okay, cool. You guys want to finally give him time. It makes sense, right? I don't know what pose that was, LT, but 7 for 11, 17 points. Okay.
It was a W for Wood.
2 steals, 2 blocks. Maybe you should have kept yourself off the screen so you see. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 7 for 11, and he hit 2 snipes. Listen, I'm sure LT loves this guy too. You know, Jacob, we've talked about this guy all season long. The wood, he brings it, whether it's in a fireplace or it's not. Sometimes they don't want to bring the wood, and that's unfortunate, right? But we can go ahead and segue into the Memphis game, or excuse me, the Memphis side of things.
Hey, wait.
What's up, man? Yes. Yeah.
Wood to the fireplace. Sometimes they don't want to bring it. Huh? I like that, man. Hey, I was sick. All right. For Memphis side of we got Jonas Valanciunas, 13 for 19, no threes, 17 rebounds, 26, doing his best, drumming the drumster. 4 blocks as well. What a game from one of the Jonas brothers. Wow. And then Triple J, yikes, 3 for 10, but made up for it. 8 for 9 from the charity, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal and 3 blocks. I'll take that. I'll take it. I really will. And then Ja Rule, 5 for 9, 2 for 2 from the free throw, 4 rebounds, 6 turnovers, 7 assists. Those 6 turnovers, you'll have to deal with it. It is rookie time frame. And then Starks, I'll go ahead and let you talk about some of these guys on the back end.
Yeah, the back end here, it was kind of cutting out there, but I'll just say real quick, Dylan Brooks, he still gets the minutes, and he's been a very underrated fantasy darling. We know about Ja Morant. I think did you touch up on him?
Yeah, just a little bit. He had 6 turnovers. Okay. Yikes. Where are you, Stocks? Your connection's lost. All right, y'all. So, yeah. Oh, he's back.
All right. I'm still in the ball again. Sorry. So, actually about to have bad reception again. It makes sense. Can you hear me? Oh, maybe.
Yes,
cool.
I can hear you now.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. So, Brandon Clark, as we have already talked about in this episode, as LT would say, the Jonas brothers, when you have games like this, sometimes you don't even need Brandon Clark, and this is what kind of happens, right? But moving forward, Tyus Jones gets the minutes, DeAnthony Melton, and it's a surprise. It's definitely a surprise to see Josh Jackson come back out of nowhere. And actually, he played good a few games ago. This one, just put that picture away. He's done. He's done for. He's not ready.
Oh, what happened to Jay Jackson, man?
Hey, man, pull up Solomon Grundy. I think he's around right now.
Is that the fro? Hopefully he has that. Oh, no, he has the...
He's not the answer, man. Hey, it's all right, man. Listen. No, it's not all right. Let's go ahead and move on.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next final game. Another barn burner. Golden State versus Washington is 2 of the best teams in the league. And then so Golden State, Draymond Green with a sighting, 5 for 8, 2 snipes, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. This is why you keep him on. I know, right? One of my favorite guys. This is why you keep him on your fantasy team. He can put up stat lines like this. That's what his value is at. Hopefully, he can continue to, play 33 minutes a game. Unlikely, but hopefully. And we have some. It's the Chris, Marquise Chris.
Yeah.
5 for 5. 3 charity, 3 for 4 from charity, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 13 points. He had a very nice game. You love to see that. And then I'm talking about my guy. Hey, it's Alec Baldwin. Just kidding. It's Alec Burks. 9 for 17, 5 snipes, 7 for 8 from the charity, 3 rebounds. Even added 2 swipes on his 30-point game. He is still at it. I hope you guys didn't drop him when everybody was like, oh, people are coming back. Who cares? It's the Golden State Warriors. No one's better than the next person pretty much on this squad. Everyone's pretty even. And Alec Burks has been proven to be a scorer. So hopefully you have him still putting up lines like this consistently this year. Starks, over to you.
Yeah, you touched up on everything. Just one player I want to touch upon. To Chris, I love that guy. He's Dame. He's Dame. He's dialed down. What? He's dialed down. He's dialed down his foul troubles.
Perfect. He's Dame.
I want to talk about him. Hey man, that Dame Dollar is in my head right now. Your boy.
He should be.
But no. Shut up. Yeah, I think you're right. Lee, though, this is a guy you got to have, I think, across the board in Golden State. Again, like you had mentioned, Alec Burks, yeah, Alec Baldwin is the guy to have, but Damian Lee is the next guy to
Yeah.
have on the team because he's starting and he's getting the minutes. Again, you're going to be playing musical chairs in Golden State. I'll be honest, we spoke about it in the last episode. It's a mess there. You're going to get lucky, and sometimes you're not, but we can go ahead and move on there, LT.
One of the saddest things about this year with Golden State is that some of these guys I feel like have some talent, but they're going to be like non-existent next year, and so that kind of makes me a little sad. Yeah, like all of these guys, maybe they'll have like a nice little bench mob next year with Damian Lee, Burks, Pascal, Poole, Chris, whoever decides to stay around, but. Man, these guys, I feel like they should be getting more playing time, but next year they won't. And we're going to move over to Washington. Bradley Beal, what's the deal? And he is angry. 15 for 30 shots.
God.
He is angry about being snubbed. 3 for 7 from the three. He only took 7 threes. 10 for 10 from the charity strike as well. 6 assists, 2 steals, 43 points. Man, he is a man on a mission, and they lost. That's probably why he's not an all-star, right? So, Rui, he's back, Starks. I know he's back now. 5 for 8, 8 rebounds, 11 points. My guy, Ian Mahimi, he's cooling off. He's cooling off a little bit. Yeah. One for 1. Maybe he got hurt this game.
There goes your cheapy, dude. Your cheapy big. There's your cheapy big, give you about a week of production.
Yeah, he gave me about a good week or week and a half. That's about it. Hopefully he's starting still, but yeah, he only had 9 minutes tonight. Don't know why, but Starks, go ahead and I'll pass the rock to you, man.
Yeah, I'm glad his minutes are starting to dry up there. Listen, I don't know. Listen, why is Thomas Bryant coming off the bench? Listen. This is why, right? This is why his minutes, your boy Mahimi's getting zapped. But I think with Thomas Bryant getting all these minutes off the bench, which was at 29 minutes, why aren't you already starting? We understand that he's came off an injury, but if you're giving him this many minutes, why not just go ahead and insert him? Go ahead and get rid of Ian Mahimi. He can come off the bench, rightfully so, but we like what he's doing. David Bertans doing solid. We can move on. That's it.
One thing I will say is that Thomas Bryant had 29 minutes, only shot at the ball 3 times. Beal, I know you're a man on a mission, but facilitate a little bit more, get your other teammates involved. Thomas Bryant he was 3 for 3, was having a great game. Get him involved more, man. I get it. You're mad, but anger doesn't solve anything. All right, on to the next game. Maybe it does. Orlando, Charlotte, and Orlando got to talk about my guy Aaron Gordon. 6 for 12, 2 snipes, 2 for 6 from the charity. Yuckle doodle do, but hey, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 16 points from him, coming in hot with some of those extracurricular activities with those 2 steals. I love to see it. And Starks, anybody else on here you like to look at or see in your eyes?
Fultz. I think he had a career high with 14 assists this game, nice. With the 12 points. But I'm just going to also say this: sell him like hotcakes on this game, just because. I hope he does well this season. That's not to put a damper on him, but he's been really inconsistent this season. There's been sparks of hope for him. And honestly, some people in the Dynasty League still believe in him. And honestly, I thought maybe he could do something this year. He's shown some flash, but he needed to really do it now. And to me, it's starting to run out of time. But if you can take this game, flip him for a different player, if you're lucky to get top 60 value in return from him in a redraft or points league, I'm all in on that. I just don't know why he's been inconsistent, because one thing that has been consistent, he's been getting minutes that you definitely love. And if you're not able to get a deal, hopefully he can give you some more brighter days. I'm not going to assume so, but I'll just touch up real quick on your boy Aaron Gordon. He was dropped in a points league, and I was happily able to get him. I'm assuming you don't want to trade him to me in that dynasty format, or do you anymore?
There's no telling what I may do in that league.
All right, I'll pass you back the ball there, brother.
There's no telling. All right. Miles Bridges on Charlotte's side had a good game tonight. A bacon sighting. Dwayne Baconator with 0 for 4. 5 rebound. 3. He did awful tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Oh my gosh, don't do it. Cody Zeller. She went to Zellers. 26 minutes tonight, 8 for 13, 7 rebounds. Ooh, and that is unfortunate for my big man. One of my cheapy big men, Bismack Biyombo, did not play tonight. Maybe
Good.
Hey, chill. And maybe there's a Cody Zeller cheat code coming in. So if Cody Zeller's available, you know how I love my cheapy big men. Look him up. I'm going to be looking to see if he's available. 26 minutes you love to see it. And the guy that made Terry Rozier tradable, Devontae Graham. Starks, what do you feel about Devontae Graham's night?
This is a good game because for him is not too bad of a game because he's been really cold here, having this very cold stretch. In particular, honestly, this is a buy low moment. This game is better than what he's been doing recently. But Charlotte, this is the guy to have on your team. Again, we've talked about, I've asked LT and I asked Jacob, I was like, hey, listen, do you guys take Rozier or do you take Teddy Graham crackers, right? Or Devontae Graham crackers? And they were like, I'm going to take Rozier. That was a safe call. I would understand that at the time. I said, I'm going Graham. Now, as I asked them again, their logic kind of changed here recently, but I will ask you this again, LT, because, Graham has been a little bit cold lately. Would you rather have Rozier or Teddy Grahams there?
To be honest, I would still have Graham. I would still shade him over to Graham just because I think that's his team now. I think he's and that assist total's been very impressive. So I'm Graham.
Yep, he jacks up a lot of threes. And real quick, I'll tell you why. Here's a cheat code. I'll tell you why Biyombo is getting them DMP CDs. It's because they're getting that Willie Hernan Gomez getting that time underneath the radar coming off the bench. And if you want a little cheapy biggie, he's there for you in a deep format. He might not be in that Dynasty League though, baby, because I grabbed him. But hey, listen, I will say this to the listeners.
Willy Wonka.
Think about, in the chocolate factor, he's ready. The thing is, he does well when he gets on the court. But again, whatever he gets the opportunity, the rug gets pulled underneath his feet like every single time. But so if he gets minutes in the deepest of deeper formats, and go ahead and deploy him and pick him up and see if it works out. If it doesn't, cut bait on him. If you want to just highlight on maybe a game or two, and we'll kind of clutch it up after that, brother. Yeah,
well, I'll go over a couple games. Let's see which ones are the most interesting here. Probably this Phoenix Brooklyn. We'll go ahead and check on this one. DeAndre Ayton played a really good game. 25 points, 12 for 22, 17 rebounds. 2 blocks.
Jeez.
Yeah, he played awesome. A lot of big men played pretty big tonight, as we're seeing. Bad game from Devin Booker. D Book. 3 for 15, 4 assists, 4 rebounds.
Hold on. Did you say a couple big men played pretty big tonight? Is that what you said?
I did say that.
Okay, go ahead.
No problem, man. D-Book did not play big tonight. 3 for 15, 1 snipe, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers. You don't want to see those triple fours anytime you're on the court. So he had a bad game. Rookie Rubio did not play well. These Brooklyn Nets point guards must have been clamping these guys up. Starks, what do you think about these a Karis LeVert sighting? Do you see the stat line? Yikes. 7 assists, 2 steals, 7 for 7 from the free throw line, 10 for 20. Wow. And that's Kyrie did not play tonight. I don't know, man. Kyrie's been playing crazy. He's been playing really good, but they always win without him. This is weird.
Yeah. And guess what? He got hurt again. Listen, it's like, I just don't. I love Kyrie. And again, I don't want to say a player is going to get hurt, but when you give a player so much minutes and the usage is high on him, especially on Kyrie, to me, it's a recipe of potentially hurting somebody. And we know he's not made of glass, but he's a player that you got to be a little bit more cautious with. And Brooklyn has been using him like hardcore. And look, again, he's hurt again. So Karis LeVert, I know that a lot of people cut bait on him. And actually, to be honest with you, I did in a very shallow points league here recently. This sucks, but is this a sustainable situation? It could be, but how long is it sustainable, right? And then we also know about your boy Dinwiddie, as you would call him, Dinwiddie. He was inefficient. Actually, this Jacob's boy, I know. Dinwiddie was inefficient. You okay? Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But anyways, going forward, I don't even know what's going on here. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. You said your guy Dinwiddie, who you also call Dinwiddie, but Dinwiddie, that's his actual name. It's the other way around. Yeah, you just
hey, you're right. Hey man, you're right.
This is the last one. This is the last game.
It's the last game. So Dinwiddie. Yeah, I don't even know. Taurean Prince, the Prince of All Saints, did nothing. Well, he's been kind of just turning into the fake saying. But I actually want to segue into I want to say actually one more. We won't talk about the game, but Indiana. And I know Indiana lost. And Oladipo, I'm going to say this. I don't care. He's been shooting poorly ever since he came back. And honestly, I know I was like, you know what, I'm concerned. You kind of should be, but I think he was pumping up the volume, baby.
17
shots.
10 threes.
And I don't care. 10 threes. Hey, listen, I love that. I love it so much. And LT, like I said, you've been sick, man. I'm glad that you're back healthy, man. You had to take those that you had to get on the ILs.
Yeah, I was in the ILs position. I sure was. Oh, perfect. Freeze.
Uh-oh.
We're back.
We're back. What's the last part? It doesn't even matter what I said. Listen, I'm going to repeat something that you need to know.
More freezing at Stark. No. Oh, we're in Edit City right now. Oh yeah, he's gone. Well, all right. Well, I wanted to talk about Porzingis on this one as well. Porzingis, if you want to look at here, 36 minutes, 25 seconds.
No, I'm still in the ball. I don't care. No, I'm still in the ball. I know. It doesn't even matter. I'm still in it because I wasn't done. Going back on Dippo. That's what they want to hear. Anyway. They probably don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I was saying I got a lot of editing to do.
I'm sorry. Bro.
You're gay.
Dippo. He's worked on his step back. He's done a hard and F step back. I don't know if you noticed or if you heard about that, LT. Have you heard of that?
No. Well, you know how I feel about Oladipo.
Okay, cool. But I'm going to tell you anyway, since you feel good about him. He's worked on a double step back 3-point shot. So he's working on not being so relentless to the hole, but obviously he still is going to be. But it's good to see him take more jump shots. But I'll pass you the ball to kind of close up shop there on that game. Sorry, brother.
No, you're good, man. Victor Von Doom. Yeah, good job. 4 for 17. Love to see it. Let's talk about who really matters. Sabonis. He gave you a bonus almost triple-double tonight. 26 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 11 for 18. Can someone say efficiency out there in the fantasy world? I can. Efficiency. You love to see it. Miles Turner, he did all right. But Sabonis, he's my bonus. And then Chris
You're tough.
Pringles, once you pop, you just can't stop, right? 38 points, 12 for 12 from the charity. Who was he torching tonight? Golly goodness. Was it Sabonis? I don't know. He was giving it the work to somebody out there. 10 for 20, 6 for 13 threes, 12 for 12 for the charity. He couldn't miss tonight. 12 rebounds, 1 steal. He didn't get any patented blocks, but who cares? 38 points, and that is what I call a unicornical performance by Kristaps Porzingis. And also got to touch up. Yeah, that's right. I'm going on one of my own solos because I've been out of the game. Here we go. Hardaway. Hey, it's not Penny. Yeah. It's not Penny. Yeah. It's Timmy. Timmy Hardaway Jr. 9 for 17, 4 snipes, 3 for 3. One of Starks' old guys. I secretly like him too. He's been killing it, and this is without Luka. So he's just in a groove right now. You got to ride the wave with your surfboard, baby. That's all I got.
Yeah, it sounded good. Everything was good. So the surfboard. But listen, closing up shop. I'm sorry, listeners. We was all over the place, but this is good because I could see LT's face and his mannerisms. So I'm going to say this as the clutch shot. I'm not going to give you guys a long commercial, but I'm going to say this. LT, I know why you were sick. It's because you were sick of seeing that score in the points league that you took an L on. And I forgot to start hard and you still lost. What are your thoughts on that? That is my clutch shot.
I have nothing. I did take an L. Hey, the rest of the year, though, I am focused. I am elite focused the rest of the year on making the playoffs in all my leagues. I won't lie. It is a uphill battle right now. Uphill, not a downhill. Uphill battle right now. But I am focused. That's right. You lose your connection again, Starks. You lose it because if I see you again. Yeah. Nothing at all. All right, listeners. My clutch shot is I appreciate you guys with the YouTube giving me some pay. Sorry about last week. Definitely was sick, was not feeling well. Then my son was sick, and then now my wife's sick. So it's been going around. But the YouTube channel is back up. We're also I'm gonna have a secret episode. I wasn't sure whether I was going to post the episode or not. I wasn't sure, but I'm going to go ahead and have some bonus content for you guys. A secret episode on the Kobe, when the thing happened with Kobe. We did have a podcast that day, and I do have it recorded. So I'm going to post that up for bonus content. I wasn't sure how I felt about posting it, but I think that is important for our listeners to see our live reactions on that. So I will go ahead and post that as well sometime this week, and I'll let you guys know when that goes up. But Starks, that was my clutch shot. Over to you, man.
It's good. Sorry, guys, for the troubles here, but you guys can follow me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also follow me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. You guys, give me a follow, and I'll follow you back. Ask me any questions at a prompt time, or ask me any questions, and I'll get back to you at a prompt time, and I'll pass you the ball there, LT.
Hey, you can find me at Sage Network X. The X is silent still. Nothing's changed. Also, you can find one of our top writers, God, Dad, husband, teacher, and writer, staff writer and editor for NewLifeFantasy.com, Jacob the White Knight at Ain't Done Yet. Done? You got that right. 2 N's, baby. And then also, that's not all. We also have one of our other top writers, in-depth fantasy sports content. God first, the Fantasy Logician. That's at Fantasy Logician on Twitter. If you are into baseball, hey, he will give you the pitch count and he'll help you knock that ball out of the park in your fantasy leagues. Check him out right away. Don't fret. Up to you, start.
What? What?
Hey, I was hot. I was so hot.
You was hot. I was hot.
I was so hot that I like sizzled out, man. It's like someone just dumped a cold thing of Gatorade on me, man. Like Andy Reid.
Yeah, man. Happened again. And then like the other time, you were so hot and then you said surfboard. But listen, listeners, again, we love you so much. God bless you guys. With that being said, have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.